We're very proud to share our first year progress with you all today. Our original intent was to launch our 2030 goals at the end of 2019, after working on it between Natura, The Body Shop, and Aesop for quite a while. Then, as we prepared to welcome Avon into the group, we decided it was best to pause just a little so we could integrate our new reality with Avon into our collective vision. So Avon became part of Natura & Co. in early 2020, just before we're all hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, with all the fear and shadows that it brought into the world. We decided to move forward, despite all that, with a collective vision, all four companies, and launched Commitment Life a year ago in June 2020. Against this shocking backdrop, it felt that our plan was more urgent and necessary than ever, and we decided to go ahead. Our commitment to life consists of three pillars. The first one is to tackle the climate crisis and protect the Amazon. The second is to defend human rights and be humankind. And the third pillar is to embrace circularity and regeneration. For these goals to be meaningful, we created 31 detailed targets in total. And for anyone who'd like to learn more, there'll be a downloadable fact sheet available on our website, naturaco.com, after this event. We want to walk you now through some of the highlights of the progress that we've made on each pillar. To start, I'm going to hand over to Keivan, who will talk about our first commitment to address the climate crisis and to protect the Amazon. Over to you, Keivan.
Thank you, Sylvia. At Natura & Co., we have a bold commitment to become net zero across our entire value chain by 2030. To achieve this goal, we have pledged to set science-based targets across scopes 1, 2, and 3 by 2022. Our four brands are at different stages of measuring their carbon footprint. At the support them, we are working with Carbon Trust, an expert organizations supporting business in their ambitions to achieve a sustainable and low carbon future. But before we can measure our progress, it has been essential for us to understand the baseline where we are working from. So, we are consolidating our organization's footprint for the scopes 1, 2, and 3 to determine our greenhouse gas inventory baseline to ultimately set and approve science-based target in line with 1.5 degrees trajectory. Currently, our GHG emissions are estimated at 2 million tons of CO2 equivalent. Last year, Natura & Co. became a co-founder of Transform to Net Zero, together with other 10 global companies, including Microsoft, Nike, Danone, and Daimler Chrysler. Our goal is to lead by examples to enable all business to decarbonize their supply chains. Let me share one of the examples here. For COP26 later this year, we aim to show the path towards end-to-end decarbonization on the plastic value chain as a proof point. We are also now patrons of UN Global Compact's Climate Ambition Accelerator that aims to foster collective efforts on global common goal on climate change. When it comes to the Amazon, we developed a unique business model for the last 20 years and we will expand it because our future will be a reflection of the rainforest destiny. Without it, and the extraordinary carbon function it has, we will not be able to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees. Our live panel with the leaders of Business for Nature, One Planet Business for Biodiversity, World Economic Forum, and Union for Ethical Biotrade will be talking more about what can we do to build an agreement on nature and to help tropical forests later in our session today. Now, let me hand over to you, Marcelo.
Thank you so much, Keivan. Our approach as a group is always guided by our purpose, to nurture beauty and relationships for a better way of living and doing business. This is reflected throughout the commitment to life, but especially in the second pillar, which focus on our goals to align our companies to defend human rights and to be more humankind to everyone. Later in the session, you'll hear from Paula Fellowfield, our Chief HR Officer, and Jade Fraser, Head of Diversity, Inclusion, and Engagement, on the progress we have made on our commitments addressing equitable pay and our work to ensure more inclusion and diversity across the workforce. I'd like to take a minute to share some insights into some of our other key targets. One of our boldest goals takes its inspiration from Natura, whose innovative work tracking its social value dates back to 2014, when it started to measure and disclose the Human Development Index of its network of consultants. As a group, we are expanding this program to track how we can create social value, well-being, and development for our network of consultants and representatives in our 10K markets, reaching more than 5 million people. With clear measurement and targets in place, we are committing to deliver an annual update of our progress in this area. Last year, we determined how we will track the earnings, education, health, and digital capabilities of our network. And now we are building the methodology and data. We hope to get our first results publicly within 2 years. We are also working hard to ensure that our critical supply chains are fully sustainable, and we are building to develop detection and correction plans to remediate any human rights infringements that we identify. We will be disclosing the data and our position as a group in the second semester this year. In 2020, we committed to deliver a living wage or above to our people in more than 100 countries by 2023. We have set a clear baseline, which has allowed us to understand where we currently stand. For every adult in our network, our current percentage is 96%, 4% behind where we want to be. We are confident that we will reach our goal ahead of 2023. Finally, in 2020 alone, we invested $95 million in social causes, including initiatives to combat COVID-19 and the rise of domestic violence through a powerful global campaign called Isolated, Not Alone. This follows the guidance we gave last year on our expectation regarding investment in key causes. We expect to disclose within the next 2 years what social value we have created. Let's now hear more from Sylvia on the progress we've made to embrace circularity and regeneration by 2030. Sylvia.
Thank you, Marcelo. Hello again, everyone. So this is the pillar about all our products. In the spirit of challenge and status quo and wanting to go beyond the limitations that exist today, we've committed to fully embracing circularity and regeneration across our 4 businesses by the end of this decade. And we know it won't be easy, and we don't yet have all the answers, but we're determined to finding them. Product packaging in particular currently accounts for more than 1/3 of our carbon emissions. So to put it simply, packaging is our biggest challenge in our path to become net zero. Whilst 81% of our packaging material today is already reusable, recyclable, compostable, we're aiming for 100% by 2030. But of course, there's more than that. We need to radically reduce the amount of packaging material that we use, and importantly, ensure that what is reusable is actually reused. When it comes to ingredients, we have a little clearer path. On formula biodegradability, for example, we are at 93% and clearly on track to get to 95% or more by 2030. And to ensure our success on these product-related goals, we've decided to significantly increase our resources on innovation, leveraging not only the talent across the group, but also developing different ways of working with much more cross-industry collaboration. But internally, through a mechanism that we call the Innovation Network of Excellence, INEX, members of our research and development teams representing a wealth of talent across Avon, Natura, The Body Shop, and Aesop have already come together to collaborate on important projects and to share best practices. We've also committed as one of our goals to invest $100 million on regenerative solutions over the next 10 years. And in fact, later in the event, you're going to hear from our R&D leaders who'll be sharing some of the regenerative solutions already at work across our business. In this decade of action to tackle climate crisis, we must come together and challenge ourselves to find solutions that give back more than what we take. And that's our working definition of regeneration. Now, back to you, Char.
Hi again, everyone. Well, we're already hearing that many of you are making some amazing comments and putting some questions in on the platforms, which is great. So this is just a reminder that before we move into our next session, please, we invite you to ask your questions, put your comments in the below boxes as you listen in. And at the end of the event, we're going to close out with a question and answer session with some of our speakers. Now, as a company with its roots firmly in Latin America, Natura has been dedicated to developing sustainable economic alternatives for the Amazon region for 20 years. Let's now hear from 3 passionate advocates for the Amazon and their insights into what it will take to address the climate crisis and create a path to protect the Amazon. This session will be hosted by Andrea Alvarez, the Chief Brand and Sustainability Officer for Natura, with Guilherme Leal, co-founder of Natura and co-chairman of Natura & Co., and Tasso Azevedo, the social entrepreneur and leading global forestry expert. Over to you, Andrea, Guilherme, and Tasso.
Thank you, Shar. It's great to have you with us today. It's my great pleasure to be chairing the panel on the Amazon. The Amazon rainforest is the largest in the world and home to 10% of the planet's biodiversity. Its capacity to absorb greenhouse gas emissions also makes it a fundamental tool in mitigating climate change. However, in recent years, due to droughts and deforestation, the Amazon forest has become at best a net emitter. This has alarming global consequences as climate change and biodiversity loss are 2 of the 5 main risks threatening the global economy, according to the World Economic Forum. All numbers related to the forest are superlative. The Amazon biome is present in 9 countries in Latin America, where Natura & Co. has its headquarters and an important part of its activities. It occupies 40% of the Brazilian territory, and could provide an immense opportunity for the country to lead global efforts towards a low-carbon economy. As a company, we are well aware of the challenges of having a more sustainable business model in the region. We're also proof, however, that it is possible. Since 2010, we have invested more than 2 billion reais, or close to $400 million in the region, as we establish relationships with 34 communities and over 7,300 families. Innovation is a key driver of our presence in the region, either by helping us turn biodiversity ingredients into amazing products, or by developing new agricultural solutions, such as the agroforestry system for the production of palm oil. There are many more opportunities involving biodiversity, conservation, and environmental regeneration. We must take advantage of the fact that the Amazon is part of the global debate now to promote the development of an economic model based on the biodiversity or bioeconomy. If well planned, this movement will represent a major development opportunity for Brazil and the region, driving competitiveness, real gains in conservation, and environmental regeneration and improved quality of life. Unfortunately, we're still far away from that reality. To this day, the region's development model is still based on extractives, large commodities, and mining. Trade and non-timber forest commodities represent around 0.05% of the Brazilian GDP. Global biodiversity supply chain markets are valued at 200 billion per year, with Amazon exports currently only representing 0.2%. Deforestation in the Amazon continues to beat historical records and is one of the greatest obstacles to the region's development. To discuss this and other issues, I have the great pleasure of welcoming two esteemed guests, Tasso Azevedo, consultant and social entrepreneur in the field of forests, sustainability and climate change, and a longtime friend of Natura, and Guilherme Leal, co-founder of Natura, co-chairman of the board of Natura & Co., and long-term champion of sustainability, and more recently, through the consultation of For the Amazon. Gentlemen, we know that the Amazon is no longer a concern only for environmentalists. What are the challenges facing the Amazon today in relation to deforestation and environmental conservation? Tasso, how about we start with you?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Guilherme. It's a pleasure to be with you in this panel. So let's say like this. I think the Amazon is a little bit on a kind of a crossroads. So after we have this long period of declining between 2004 and 2012, the deforestation is growing back and have exploded in the last 2 years. In May, for example, the alerts that the Spatial Agency in Brazil provide detect over 1.3 thousand square kilometers of deforestation in the Amazon, which is by large margin the highest number in this period of the year, like May, since the monitoring starts in 2004. And the problem is that the forest fires that we see in the Amazon are intrinsically linked with deforestation. In this region, the natural fires, it's not like an event that you would see normally. It's a very rare event. So forest fires in this area is an effect of the human-induced fires that recently, on areas that have been recently deforested, and as part of the process to convert those areas into pasture. Then the fire escapes from those areas inside the forest, causing the heavy degradation that amplifies actually the impact of deforestation. But what is alarming is that deforestation is growing twice as faster in the protected areas and indigenous lands than outside. Over 98% of deforestation that we had last year has at least one evidence of illegality, and 6-7% of those happens on private property or land that is under the domain of private owners. So despite of this reality, only about 5% of the area that were clear-cut in the last 2 years have been charged with fines and were seized with an embargo to stop deforestation. So there are major pressures that are pressuring the forests in the Amazon, like 3 of them. So illegal mining, the illegal logging, and the conversion of forests into pasture and farming. The illegal mining is particularly brutal, not only because of the loss of biodiversity that it's causing, but also because it's contaminating water, spreading disease, and bringing violence to indigenous people. When we analyze what happens with the land after we have deforestation, 63% of the land is turned into degraded pasture. 23% is abandoned and is kind of regenerating. And only 14% is being used for what we could say is like a productive activity, like agriculture or urban areas. Clearly, we don't need to convert any new hectare of forests in order to develop the Amazon region. We already have clear-cut 20% of the Amazon and degraded another 20% at least. And so the consequence of this is an immense emission of greenhouse gases and a decrease on the rainfall in Brazil. So I think it's time for us to revert this trajectory, because we run on a risk of entering a self-feeding process of degradation that might be irreversible, and that will be like the worst scenario.
No, absolutely. And we all have seen the data and we've seen the numbers, and it really frightens and frustrates us all. But we've tried to convert that frustration into action. And that is why we've teamed up on an effort together with MAP Biomas and Natura, considering our commitment to help end illegal deforestation by 2025 as a way to reverse that tipping point and foster development models that actually regenerate and transfer social progress in the process as well. So, Tasso, can you tell us more about this joint initiative?
Yeah, so this is something that we have been thinking and working in this partnership with the MAP Biomas, which is a platform that brings together scientists from NGOs, startup techs, and universities, together with Natura and InfoAmazonia, which is a journalist website dedicated to information about the Amazon, to bring together, to work on a portal in which we can gather data and indicators related to deforestation and also regeneration and conservation, with specific emphasis in the Amazon region. So the idea here, the purpose, is to engage government, the private sector, the civil society, and local organizations to support the fight against deforestation and promote conservation. So there'll be like three major areas on this website. One part is like just gathering all the information we have about the deforestation and regeneration in one single place where it's very easy for everyone to find out what's going on and what could be the priority areas to act on, etc. The second thing is an area where we can get all the news and information about what is happening in the region in a way that is geo-referenced, so you can find out what it's happened, where and when in the region, to get better information to act. And the third area is a kind of a clearinghouse of what are people doing to fight deforestation and how can you engage with that. So who is doing the good examples? Who are the people, the institutions, and the projects, initiatives that are moving towards this common goal of stopping deforestation and promoting the restoration and conservation in the Amazon? So in a nutshell, that's the purpose of this portal. It's kind of creating a movement for changing what it's today is a kind of a fate for the Amazon to be something that is kind of a new vision, optimistic vision of changing the reality there during this decade.
No, and I have to tell you that we've been looking together at the data and the landing page, and as this thing is coming to life, and it is impressive, and it does give me immense hope. So it's a pleasure to be engaged in this initiative together with you, really. So Guilherme, now let me turn to you. Tasso has talked us through the numbers and the data at length, but also attempts to bring various stakeholders together. Having founded Concertation for the Amazon, or Concertação as we call it, an NGO that seeks to foster not only dialogue, but collective action. Can you tell us more about this entire experience?
For sure. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Tasso. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. We have been involved, as you probably most of you know, with Amazon for the last 20, 25 years, as Natura, as a citizen, Brazilian citizen, and as part of the third factor as well. The problem and the opportunities with Amazon are huge, as you have described it. You and Tasso has described it. We have Amazon is fundamental for Brazil, is fundamental for South America and the 9 countries that shares the Pan-Amazonia. It's important to the whole world. And it's a highly complex challenge to deal with. And we, with our experience in trying to produce some increment, some model of sustainable development in the Amazon for this along this more than 20 years, we are more than sure that nobody alone can deal with this systemic problem. If we want to really find a north to deal with Amazon, to keep Amazon alive, to put Brazil and South America in the world with Amazon, and to give the services that Amazon provides to share with the whole world, we need to involve a lot of different people. As you know, also that we have more than 25 million people living there, just in Brazilian part, and they have not a good life. They are living in poverty, and they need to access prosperity, but not the kind of prosperity or the production of wealth that has been done so far. Tasso knows much better than myself the process of deforestation and producing the empty space. We have a lot of land without no production, nothing of wellness being created or shared. To deal with this, in the beginning of 2019, we were concerned about the alerts that the deforestation was growing in a really fast way through more than 5 years, 6, 7 years, but growing the curve going very, very up. And we decided to invite different stakeholders, business leaders, political leaders, community leaders, people from the most different sectors in industry, mining, agribusiness, and so far, to talk about, to share what could be done for a sustainable to create a sustainable Amazon. And this has been the movement since then. We started in the middle of 2019, and now we are more than 200 leaders, different leaders, cultural leaders, indigenous leaders, business leaders, as I said, trying to share experiences. And these tools that Tasso has mentioned are fundamental. Information, it's key to understand the different Amazons that we have inside the big Amazon. We have many different Amazons with many different challenges, and if we want to deal with them, to produce a low carbon economy, to produce a sustainable way of development, we need to share and to bring to the table and to discuss the different versions, the different visions that different stakeholders have of Amazon. So we are involved deeply in this process. We are very happy. We didn't find the solutions. There is no one solution. There are many experiences that could be developed, but we need to convey on a north, the right direction, and to bring people to really make their best to change the situation, that this very, very threatening situation that Tasso has described for us.
No, fantastic. And it's incredible to have your leadership in this agenda for such a long time and continuing to exercise it, because we know that it's the need to foster dialogues between various entities that we will find these solutions. And you are a very important voice in not only speaking, but putting people at the table for the dialogue to happen. And like you said, it's a systemic problem. It won't be easy to resolve. There are ways forward, not just one path. And Concertação, I think, is already playing a major role in starting to create those agendas going forward.
Can I make
I'd love to.
a small?
Yeah, of course. Yes, Tasso, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm just thinking now while Guilherme was speaking, I think there is something very crucial on this movement of the concertação, because normally when we saw a business dealing with the Amazon, when they see all the problems, the first idea that comes to mind is like, I need to avoid the Amazon, right? Because the Amazon is a problem. So let's avoid. We don't want to have products or anything from the Amazon that will cause problems in my. And I think what this movement is showing is the totally different approach, which is, okay, we have a problem, we have to engage with the problem. Like we have to engage with the Amazon if we want to solve the problem. I think this is absolutely brilliant and different from what we have in the past. And I think it's an invitation not for the Brazilians, but I think it's also an invitation for people around the globe, like don't avoid. Like we have a problem in the Amazon and we need the engagement of everyone to help to solve the problem. I think concertação for me is this, like how to engage.
Great, Tasso. Your contribution is fantastic. That is, the opportunities that we have and that is not known yet are fantastic. So come to deal with the problem and to identify opportunities that could be shared with the local population and to keep alive the forest are fantastic. And concertation, to be honest, I am very proud and happy when I saw so many different faces in our monthly meetings, because this shows very well this novelty, this thing that is much different people being involved with Amazon. And so I think we nurture hope when we saw this kind of movement.
I think that's a great a note from which I will just start closing our panel. I would like to sit with both of you all afternoon to talk about it, all day actually, but we have to move on. And I was just inspired by your comment, thinking that when we engage with different stakeholders, we find solutions in the most unexpected places. And we wanted to bring here the example of the palm oil, which is usually widely recognized as a villain in cosmetics and in conservation. But when you change the mindset and you shift the way we plant and treat the ingredient, we can actually identify new ways of producing palm oil that are actually regenerative. And that's what we've done with our agroforestry model in the Amazon, which has for more than 10 years now proven that there are alternative solutions. And we'd like to share this video with everyone before we leave. So thank you, Guilherme. Thank you, Tasso, for your inspiration. And it's wonderful to be with you always. Let's watch the video.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Earth's forests. More than just trees. An entire symbiotic ecosystem. 400 million years of joint plant and animal evolution, creating a complex balance where every organism has a role. It's a system of life designed to function as one. But during 11,000 years of farming, rather than embrace the forest, humans have decimated it, clearing it for fields, polluting the land with pesticides, and planting single crops. At Natura, we saw that farming needed to evolve. Embracing 400 million years of forest evolution, we began the Palm AFS project to create agroforestry, a system that plants not just one crop, but many, growing palm, the andiroba tree, the açaí tree, and many more together. A new way of farming, a new way to sustainably grow and extract palm oil, a better way to capture carbon and diversify our farmers' income. What began as 18 hectares grew to 60 and will keep growing as we work to make Natura's palm oil even more sustainable. This is a new future. Without fertilizers, without pesticides, without deforestation, and with reduced emissions. Because to regenerate the world, we must replant it.